fantastic.
Another Aussie living the expatriate lifestyle. When did you leave Australia and why?
I left December 2009. I left for a woman. I moved to Canada and then ended up in the US because of business. So unfortunately, my dad had other plans. He really wanted me to take over the family law firm in central Queensland. And the day I sat him down was pretty much the same week they finished the renovations to adding the wing onto this building that I was meant to be having offices and boardrooms and blah, blah, blah. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm going to Canada. Sorry.
Surprise.
Yeah.
You'd been studying law. How's your experience in law?
Good. I did law and criminology down at Bond University and University of Southern Queensland in Queensland. It was quite fascinating. Even though I don't practice, there's always the law application that you're doing everything in business. And sometimes it's always good to have good legal counsel and smart legal counsel. And I think some of the AI tools for this type of stuff make it even better because it becomes accessible and you no longer have to rely on one person's specific opinion. You can get the opinion of several hundred people very quickly. So it's good, but I'm certainly glad I don't practice law.
Well, there's a lot of law to know, and I heard before that if you're an American citizen, each day, on average, you're going to break about 3 laws, whether you know about it or not.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that over the years that they just keep adding new laws and they don't take away old laws. And our family had a pawnbroking business for 17 years. And the laws were quite clear, but the interpretation of the law was something else altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And before there was a lot of computing power, all of our work was done with pen and paper. And remember those books that you write on, you press really
Yep.
hard and it goes through for the 3 layers?
Yeah, the
And
ledgers.
yeah, the ledgers. And if we were to make a spelling error, that was breach of law. So on every product, let's say it's a Sony Discman. We're buying
Mm-hmm.
a $50 Sony Discman, and there's a piece of paper right in behind the battery case that has the serial number,
Yep.
and it's been stuck on at the time of manufacturing. Just a little bit
Yep.
of paper with a bit of printed ink, and it will have like a 27 number serial number, and you've got to write that down by hand. And if you write down a 7 that looks like a 1, you could lose a point off your license. So we used to get fined all the time from the police for breaching, and then you'd go to the court and they'd throw it out. And the
Yeah.
magistrate would say, "This is ridiculous. It's a spelling error."
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
trying to break the law. But you had to understand the law. And so as a pawnbroker, your second degree was law.
Well, I think that's important for anyone in life. You've got to understand the game you're playing and how you're going to win and lose. And I don't think a lot of people take enough time to either define the game they're playing or understand the game they're playing, because sometimes there's many games at play, right? You've got a game, you've got an agenda, I've got a game, I've got an agenda. We're working in a whole economy of games and agendas which serve, don't serve. And I think if people can actually take a few seconds to go, what's that game I'm playing for this year? How do I want to win? What's classified as like a lesson I've got to learn from, not necessarily a loss, because there's always loss. There could be financial losses, there could be spiritual losses, there can be physical, mental losses, the health loss. They're all like these agendas of games. And I think one of the biggest breakthroughs I had this year when I was working through growing the company was literally, what's the one constraint that is literally the blocker? And I think a lot of people set these big audacious goals, which is awesome, big, hairy, audacious goals, right? Like that's a game you're playing. You got no clear path on how the hell I'm going to achieve that. But more importantly, like, what's the actual big blocker I'm working on? And then why am I sitting there writing an article for 2 weeks or working on something that's like tedious and not important, when like there's a big blocker of, did you just call the person you sent the quote to actually close the damn deal? Like, I think one of the biggest things I think if you can focus on, and a quick tip for anyone is like, hey, what's my blocker? What's my constraint? And you might be able to list out 10 or 20 constraints, whatever it is, right? Like across your life. But in each area, you can only pick one at a time. And I think if you're trying to focus on 3, 5, 10, 7 different side hustles that you're like they've all got the same damn constraints, which is funny enough.
Well, a lot of people go to work on the internal constraints, but they forget about the external constraints. And there's things that in business that are going to impact you, and it's called your competitor.
Oh, 100%.
And if you've got a sales goal, you've got somebody else out there setting goals to win the same customers, and you've got to be able to figure out what are their strengths. You've also got to understand their weaknesses. When I was an athlete, it was very easy to learn the sport, but it took a lot of discipline to sit down and study the rules.
Yeah, 100%.
And there were certain people who knew the rules better than others, and they weren't necessarily the best riders. They just knew the rules better. So it would enable them to have a little bit more time on the water. It enabled them to put another trick in their pass.
Yep.
It enabled them to have a rest without it being classified as a fall.
Yep.
And it was interesting that the guys who became world champions were the ones who knew the rules just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that was a constraint. Because for me, it was like, okay, I'll go out there, I'll do what I think is right. But just because you think it's right, it doesn't mean it's right in the rule book. And that's where a lot of people come undone. So you've got to understand those constraints. Internally, absolutely. I'm sure we're going to get to it today, but in every goal, you need energy.
Oh, 100%.
And if you've got $1 million goal, but you've got low levels of the energy, you're not going to get there. So your biggest constraint could be your physical health.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I think you got to be thinking about is how have you been getting that energy? Because we all get it from somewhere, right? Some people, I was drinking to one guy, he drinks 6 Monster Energy drinks a day. He drinks then half a bottle of NyQuil a night to just even try to fall asleep, which I'm like, dude, you are wrecking your gut health, your physical health, like all of this type of stuff. Even your skin is like all over the place because like it's hormonally changing in ways that you don't even realize. And I remember as earlier in my entrepreneur journey, like 6-8 cups of coffee. I used to go to Costco and buy like the 24-pack of Monster Energy drink, and I'd be buying them every 2 days. Like, and it was just like that amount of caffeine was required just to kind of push me into like a zone of focus. But the danger of this, we all know this, is that a danger of that is there's that one sip of coffee too much, and the wheels are now starting to come off that bus, right? And it's just like, all right, and people don't even realize I didn't realize until I really got into the world of holistic health, the impact of sugar, the impact of caffeine, how a body processes it differently. And this is someone from us, like, if I would classify myself as a caffeine whore, because like if it had caffeine, I'll take 5 of them. Like it was just like, I thought that was my answer. But what I didn't realize, it was actually counterproductive and impacting the ADHD, impacting the focus, impacting the clarity, and literally causing more constraints that I was losing against. Does that make sense?
It does. I worked with Emirates Airline. I co-led a team of 7,500 people as a senior flight steward. And some of my flights from Dubai to New York were just fueled on coffee. And I remember getting there one day and I had 17 espressos. But here I am bagging out the captain because he drank 2 litres of black coffee. And so I'm thinking he's worse than me. But then I'm thinking, I'm the junkie over here.
Yeah.
I'm addicted. And it was every 45 minutes, have a shot. And you get out in the cabin, you feel wired.
Yeah.
It's short term, doesn't last long. And the negative consequences that follow are horrible.
Yeah. Well, and like, I'm still a coffee lover, and I'm certainly not a proponent to mushroom coffee. I'm not going to tell anyone to go buy mushroom coffee because most of that stuff tastes like crap. It's got a fart's worth of mushrooms in it. And the most important things you got to understand when you're dealing with mushrooms is dosage, potency, and bioavailability, where dosage is like, how much of this thing do I need to be actually taking based on the clinical studies, right? Or based on the citizen research or the documented research, right? It may not be a clinical trial in the sense of a clinical trial, but it may be 500 years of anecdotal research, they call it. Then it's just the potency, like how strong is actually the product I'm actually taking? And the bioavailability part of that's really important equation in the sense of how much of what I'm about to take is my body actually going to process, or am I just peeing it out? And most people don't realize that. Most of the supplement world is really just smoke and mirrors. And that's one of the main reasons why I really dove headfirst into doing this, because I'm like, I want to create a product that like you feel, a product that you can stand behind, and that it creates a raving fan base. And what I didn't realize is, when we're talking about this, is like I can anchor this back to other things, is like how many ways you could compromise on product design or product creation. And hey, I can do it cheaper. I could save a few pennies here, which leads into thousands of dollars in product creation. So like, it's amazing how many ways you get challenged to, hey, do you want to compromise on this? Do you want to use these sugars instead of xylitol because it's a natural sugar, it's more expensive, but it's just gonna cause a different thing to your immune response, your hormonal response, like all of these type of elements, which makes it very important. And like with all the caffeine, all the sugar I was having, I didn't even know how caffeine even worked in my body. Like I was totally ignorant to it.
Take us back in time. Was there a health crisis that started you on this journey?
So one of the big health crises we went through is my ex-wife and I, for in excess of 6 years, we went through IVF and did fertility IVF all around the world. We were seeing specialists all around the world. She had really bad endometriosis, and the therapies that they were recommending for her were all over the board. Like, let's run your entire intestines to remove some lesions from your intestines, even though there's a 40% chance you're going to have a colostomy bag, right? And then it's just like, well, but if we miss one needle-sized lesion on your entire intestines, the surgery will be pointless within 30 days. So it's just kind of like, how is this the medical recommendations of the people we were calling specialists, let alone the side effects that got created and imposed upon because of these drugs? And going through that firsthand for 6 years, paying top dollar for this advice was problematic, was tedious. And I really got disenchanted with the medical system, and I realized there has to be a better way. And then I really saw, because we were doing these experiences all around the world. In the US, we went to see some of the leading IVF physicians, and they're all based out of Madrid in Spain, which like 2/3 of all IVF are literally in Madrid. Most people don't know that. It was like, and there was a massive conflict in the therapy basis, how therapy was done, how they approached the body from the drug perspective here in the US, or the pharmaceutical approach, to the holistic approach in Europe, and like it's treated differently. And that was really got me exposed. I'd always been, when I was younger, going to Asia. And you can smell those the pharmacies on the corner, which like they've got all the organics. And France is very similar. Like, you walk into a pharmacy, they'll treat you with herbs first before pharmaceutical. And it never really clicked to me why, but yet in the US, it's like, no, give me the drug, give me the injection, give me the fat pill, whatever it is. Let me lose that weight really quickly, but never change the habit that got me obese in the first place, or got me not working out, or not having the right the balance, if that makes sense. So it was just lifelong exposure, continual burnout. Like, yeah, it's all cool, working 100 hours a week, whatever you want to work, long days, multiple consecutive days. But then the stacking of that burnout and that fatigue on my life, like it was just this hamster wheel I was stuck in. And I'm like, that question of there has to be a better way. One of the biggest things for me was certainly ADHD, certainly entrepreneurial depression. Like, I was doing some cool stuff. I was working with Fortune 100 companies, leading their AI development, doing business automations and systems and all this cool stuff. But I would be on the couch completely depressed, wanting to cry, wanting to, like, thinking about ending my life, to be honest. Like, all those suicidal ideations. And I was telling a friend, I'm like, and I was really starting to assess clinical trials for some drugs because I knew I needed something. He literally had, he goes, let me send you something. It was literally some mushrooms. He sent it to me. And within 2 hours, I just felt like a weight had been lifted off my body that was never before experienced. And this was microdosing mushrooms. I'm not even talking about like doing some fancy trip where I'm seeing green aliens and the rest of it, right? I'm just like a microdose of a mushroom that just removed the anxiety, removed the stress, and allowed me to go, all right, let's just get to work. It was a complete game changer for me. But yet, a lot of the pharmaceutical world is like, no, mushrooms are dangerous. Like, and you even Google stuff now, and I just had an issue. Like, we've got a great product, fantastic product, sold 5,000 units of these gummies, and then the FDA goes, no, it's a bad product. You can't have that in any food product. So we're going to ban it. I'm like, what? I've got clients who this has got them off cannabis. This got them off their drugs, and this is natural. There's nothing wrong with it. But they're like, no, it's bad. So, and because they can't really enforce it, what they did do is they had the banks enforce it. The banks came out and said, oh, if you're selling this product, you'll be debanked. We lost our merchants' accounts overnight. Lost tens of thousands of dollars in recurring revenue. Just boom, just like this. Even though never had a chargeback, never had a client dispute, nothing. It was just like, they're like, yeah, the FDA says it's bad. According to what? I can show you like 5,000 case studies internationally that this thing is actually good for you. But like holistic medicine is getting slapped in a direction that, it's a whole other thing.
Coming back to what you were saying before about constraints, there's a big one, and that FDA approval and also the debanking. It's a cruel slap, because in this part of the world, we tend to go frequency first. So if there's something wrong with the individual, we're not concerned about the surface structure. We don't want to have a Band-Aid solution. We want to go to the root cause. Yep. And as you rightly said before, you go to Asia and you can smell the compound pharmacies on the corner, and it's all getting back to the root cause. And people have consumed mushrooms for nutritional reasons and for medicinal reasons in this part of the world for 5,000 years. Totally normal. Yeah. Totally normal. Yeah. But it's a fight. In my industry, it's a fight against big sound. Your fight's against big pharma. Mine's against big sound. We make frequency medicine, but what we battle against every day is big sound. And platforms like Spotify, their music is tuned to a frequency of 440 hertz. 440 hertz makes you angry, makes you stressed, makes you depressed. The same as what's happening over there with food and beverage. And a frequency of 432 hertz relaxes the autonomic nervous system, gives you a parasympathetic dominance, puts you back into rest and relax and to restore. And so your fight's against big pharma, we're against big sound. We've all got a constraint.
Exactly. And it's about knowing that game, right? And it's about, there's always an angle, there's always a way to be an underdog, and there's always a way to win with that, because if you've got something good, that's where I think a lot of business owners don't realize what they're actually selling, what they're actually in business for, and how much they're compromising by looking for quick fixes for stuff, which I think is quite fascinating.
We're talking about what are you actually selling. To every business, we've got a marketing side of business, we've got a selling side. And when we owned the family pawnbroking business, for many years, we thought we were in the business of pawnbroking and secondhand dealing. Pawnbroking meaning somebody would bring something of value into the shop and you lend them. So let's say it's $1,000 phone, you might lend them $250, you hold on to the goods, and then at the end of the month, they can come back and pay $250 plus their service fee of $50. So we thought we were pawnbrokers. And one day we're looking at the business and we're thinking, how is it that we're on the main street and people walk by every single day, and sometimes they come in and they say, oh, how long you been here for? I'd say 17 years. They'd be like, I never knew you were here. And at that stage, we realized we were in the wrong business. And so I went out in anger, in desperation, and I painted the front of the shop, these giant big glass windows, and I painted them bright orange. And in giant letters, I wrote instant cash loans, and then a giant arrow that pointed in the door. And then people started to walk in and go, oh, you do instant cash loans. Oh my gosh, it took us 17 years to figure out what business we're in. People wanted money fast. and they wanted it easy. So
Yep.
what drove our customers was ease and speed.
Mm-hmm.
But we thought we were in the business of pawnbroking and secondhand dealing. So we used to promote that. But then we changed and we said instant cash loans. And people would drive down the street, they'd pull over and say, "Can I get money? Can I get it fast?"
Yeah.
You're in the right
Well,
place.
just point that out for something really quick. Like, we're now in an attention economy, right? And the thing is pawnbroking, like, is a complicated word that a lot of people don't even understand what it is, right? Where instant cash loan, that's reading level of a 5-year-old. Yeah. Like, so it's 5-year-old reading score ability, driving down the highway. Oh, yes, that's what I need, right? Like, it's like we're pawnbroking. They're like, yeah, I'm not sure what that is. So you just keep driving. And I think a lot of us confuse what the hell we're doing. And that's where, like, we got really, really clear on what we're doing, how we're going to win the game, is that I'm going to provide you mushroom supplements that are the most potent products on the market, no fillers, no synthetics ever. And, like, that's the promise. Like, if I can give you the best possible product, you'll feel it within 15 minutes and you'll love it. And, like, for a lot of our people, I go, look, here's a free sample. Try it. You just pay for the shipping, right? If you don't like it, don't buy it. Tell me I'm a dickhead, right? Whatever. I don't care, right? But the conversion rate off this is ridiculous. But my competitors won't do this. I give them a single dose. They're not paying for a 30-day supply or whatever. My competitors all force people into you got to buy a $30 30-day bottle or a 90-day bundle or whatever, or you got to buy the 5 mushroom bottles. You're now $500 in a month. But what they don't realize is the potency of what they're buying. Even if they're buying 5 bottles, is all 5 to 10%. Like, it's like a fart's worth of mushrooms, where we give you 90 grams of mushrooms in this little bottle, this one single dose. So when you feel it, like, this is why I've got 77-year-old men who call me and go, I no longer take a nap. I've got time for my family at the end of the day, and I feel like I'm actually living life now. And he goes, I've been having a nap for 20 years, sometimes 2. And he's like, yeah, and, like, let alone the women who are like, their hormones are getting stabilized. They're getting hormone balance. And we all need hormone balance. This is not just a female thing. Or people going through menopause. It's like everyone needs hormone balance, because we don't realize the foods we're eating. Everything is it's just literally designed to attack your body in multiple ways. Like, how is it compromising your body because of the what's in it? And, like, you're in a very special part of the world, and their food is totally different. The food in different countries, it's unique, but, like, there's a game with all of it. And it just blows my mind, though. In Europe, they outlaw all these chemicals, but here in the US, it's just like, oh, no, that's in our breakfast cereal. Like, that's on everything. Profitable. Oh, profits first. And yeah, like what's crazy is, like, it takes me 8 weeks to make every single batch. Super expensive. My competitors, most of their batches can be done within 3 hours. Right? Like, and in my mind, I'm like, I remembered hearing this about Rolls-Royce. It takes 18 hours to stitch the steering wheel in a Rolls-Royce. But yet, in 18 hours, they can make 33 full Hyundais. And it's just like, all right, well, choose what you want to have, right? And sometimes you're just going to pay for it, but it's cheaper in the long run when you're actually getting what you need, how you need it, how your body operates. And I think people are starting to understand that. It's like, yeah, it's just like there's great marketing, and, like, I'm the guy who's like, yeah, you're not going to see race car drivers and fancy influencers toting our product, because I'm not paying them to waive a product they're not taking. It's, if you don't take our product, you can't promote our product. And that's a cultural change that I think any business owner who's listening to this is like, okay, what is that culture I'm creating? What's that community I'm building? Like, even if you're a landscaper, a pool guy, an electrician, it doesn't matter. Even if you sell AI services and have a digital brokerage, like, what's the community you're building? What's the culture of that community? If you define that, it's amazing how you'll attract more of the right people.
What we put in to our bodies, we definitely get out. And it's that old principle of garbage in and garbage out. And I've been to the west coast of America and eaten salads, and I got fat. And I thought, how the fuck is that possible? I haven't shit in 2 weeks and I'm eating salads. Yet over here, you eat salads for a week and you've lost a couple of kilos, and you think, okay, there's something different here. I can't see it, but I can feel it.
Oh,
With mushrooms, here in Asia, it's part of our staple diet. So it's already 8:30 here in Taiwan, and I've already eaten half a punnet of mushrooms for breakfast this morning.
yep.
Little button mushrooms. I've had those for breakfast. But last night when I had my dinner, and we eat dinner at different times here. In Australia, you kind of eat dinner at around about 7 o'clock. That's kind of like the Aussie dinner time. Where here we eat it at 5 o'clock. So when I had my hot pot last night, it's for people who haven't eaten a hot pot, you get a pot. There's a very light soup base there, normally herbal, and then you throw all your fresh vegetables in the pot and you cook it and you eat it instantly. And in that hot pot, there would have been 6 different types of mushrooms, from the fungus to the dried mushrooms to the needle mushrooms. And so it's a staple of our diet. So if I have a look at my diet in the past, let's say 15 hours, I've probably consumed 7 different types of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And that's totally normal.
And the impact you'll be feeling about that is massive, and people don't realize this. Like it's an underestimated food. We're actually getting into mushroom instant meals and mushroom jerky. So you're going to be able to snack on mushroom jerky that's even got like lion's mane in it for that mental cognition and all this type of stuff. And the biggest thing most people tell me though is like they're like, oh yeah, I tried some mushroom stuff and I never felt it. I'm like, yeah, that's because like you just had like donut sprinkles of mushrooms that like were never designed to work for you, but you bought into marketing hype. But yet in, as you said, the Asian cultures, it's standard. Like this is the oyster mushrooms. They got a whole variety of mushrooms where you just go to Woolworths or whatever it is in Australia, and it's just like, yeah, you got button mushrooms.
And you got flats, and you got buttons that are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, or you got the big punnet of them. Like, it's just like, okay, great. But like, and it's like, it was funny. I just was actually, we're building a 28-acre mushroom farm right now where we're actually going to be growing in excess of 100,000 pounds of mushrooms a month. It's kind of really, really cool with what we're doing. And I was just dealing with a chicken farmer because he gave me the chicken litter which is like, there's like 100 plus.
Wonderful.
Oh, well, it's actually, it's pretty clean because it's only been used like once, whatever. But like, it's actually all pine wood and all this type of stuff, but a great land filler, regenerative land, so for us to be able to fill in and level out the land and all this type of stuff. But it's giving me like 100 tons of this stuff, right? And he was telling me that his sole chicory, so his hatchery, is designed around optimizing the breeding birds that all the other hatcheries get to optimize their yield, right? So his specialty is like chemically, hormonally optimizing these birds for maximum productivity. And he goes, the stuff that goes into them is like, yeah, is crazy. But yet I get to benefit from getting all this free stuff. And I was learning about his business. And I was just like, man, I'm glad I don't have to compromise like in that way. But the thing is if he doesn't do this, he gets locked out of that industry. He gets shut out of that industry. And he understands like he's under the thumb of the people he sells to. And what's interesting is like we're changing the mushroom game in the way we operate because I don't sell any fresh mushrooms. Never will. Because then I'm under the pressure of food mafias here in the US. I'm under the pressure of chefs. I'm under the pressure of like, I've got a product that literally disintegrates within 3 days. So like the delivery truck doesn't show up, delivery truck issues, humidity issues, like I could lose product. So everything we do is dried. Therefore, we turn it into instant meals, we turn it into jerky, and we create a whole new line of products that's a new opportunity, if that makes sense.
The chicken's not a chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the chicken is...
when we eat a chicken breast, it's small. When we eat chicken wings and chicken legs, it's small. But those hormonally driven ones in the Western world, they're beasts. They're massive. And it's the same with mushrooms. A mushroom's not a mushroom. And there's so many different types of mushrooms. And for a lot of people who have shopped at the retail level of mushrooms, if you're in Australia, you might go to Coles, Woolworths, or Aldi's. You might see your button or your flats, but
Yeah.
there's a whole range of exotics. And once you start to go to the Asian food markets, you'll realize that there's so many different forms. And then when you go to your compound pharmacies here in Asia, there's so many different types of mushrooms that they're using as medicine. So all
Oh,
those medicinal mushrooms, and you look at them,
crazy.
you're like, I never knew there was that many types of mushrooms.
Well, the one mushroom that we're mainly growing is called king trumpet, right? It's got a different name in Asia, but it's called king trumpet here because it's a big mushroom. But what's fascinating about that is we can cut this mushroom in 3 different ways, and therefore we can prepare it to create different meals, right? Or the jerky. So we can actually cut it and slice it, and it looks like a scallop, right? So imagine that, like, so then you can bake and wrap it and all this, and it'll taste exactly like a scallop, but it holds, unlike other mushrooms, it doesn't like disintegrate when you start cooking it, right? Or go really soft. It holds its texture. So it like just like a scallop. If we shred it, it ends up being like pulled pork. And so then you can flavor it and spice it and do everything you do with like pulled pork dishes, stuff like that. And then if you cut it into strips, you've now got like steak strips. So you can do all the Mexican stuff, you can do the Asian inspired stuff, you can do all that different stuff just because of the mushroom you use. And it's got one of the highest protein scores of any mushroom that actually exists. But yet here in the US, it's actually not a popular one because it's just not widely grown because it's at a retail level. It's just people don't even know how to use it. So one of the things that we had to actually start doing when we do the mushroom stuff is we literally would give away tacos. We'd have farmers markets. We'd go to these booths, these expos, and we'd just go, yeah, they're tacos. We then explain to them, oh yeah, it's mushroom tacos, but we've got it. Oh, you want the pulled pork one? You want the scallop style one? Like whatever it is, but it's all just seasoned mushroom. And then people love it because they're like, I never knew mushrooms could taste as good. Like, yeah, like it's a whole new world that's out there.
When you and I were growing up in Australia, it would have been mushrooms were meat for vegetarians.
Oh,
And for
100%.
Aussies, you have mushroom burgers, you got mushrooms in your salads, you got mushrooms in your curries. They're
Oh,
everywhere.
oh, steak and mushroom gravy. It was like all the good stuff. I can remember coming home to that. That was a Wednesday night. My grandmother, steak, mushroom gravy, kidney bacon mushrooms. Like, oh, yes.
Yeah. We used to go to a place called Al's Steakhouse, and you get a chicken schnitzel with mushroom and peppercorn sauce.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
and that was the treat. That was like $20 when we were 18. It was like, okay, we've got to save up for this one, and we got to get it. It was like once a week special. Then you'd put the melted cheese on top of the garlic bread. Oh, that was good. A lot of us have stopped growing food ourselves because of the way we live and our lifestyles. What does mushroom growing look like for your products? How does it start? What's the process they go through?
Yeah, so for all our tinctures, we actually source all of our mushrooms here in the US. So we use local farmers, local mushrooms, and even the mushrooms we're growing in the US for our food products. We actually take shipping containers, convert shipping containers, and we're growing them in those. And we literally, I've got a 28-acre field that it's just rows on rows on rows on rows of shipping containers that have got all their own air conditioning units and all this type of stuff, which is quite phenomenal. But the big thing is it's the extraction process. And I'll explain it to you really quickly that most people aren't aware. And if they understand this, they'll understand the entire world of mushrooms will open up to them. So normally with the mushroom world, extraction is usually water-based, right? So you got a water-based extraction, which is just like boiling the kettle, and you may boil the kettle for 5 minutes. You may boil the kettle for 5 days, and people go, "Oh my gosh, it's a 5-day water extraction." It's just like kind of like leaving rice in the slow water boil for 5 days on the pot, right? So out of that, you extract about 5 to 10% of the nutrients of whatever you boil, right? And then that gets sold as a tincture, which is what most people buy. It's fast, it's dirty, it's cheap, right? And if you didn't know any difference, you'd be like, "Oh my God, this stuff is amazing," right? Cool. Yeah, there's something in it. But then there's the alcohol extraction as well. And the alcohol extraction brings out other fats, minerals, beta glucans, salts, oils from the mushroom. So now what we're doing is we're combining the water extraction with the alcohol extraction. And this is what they may call a dual water extraction or a dual extraction. Now, where a lot of marketers get clever is they go, well, we boil our mushrooms twice. So now they're kind of piggybacking dual extraction, but calling it dual water extraction. So it's just like people are like, oh, it's a dual extraction. It's fancy. Yeah, I bet it is. So with the water and the alcohol extraction, you now get about 30% of the nutrients out of the mushrooms. But what's really different about ours is that we add a third step. So this 2-step process we do here usually takes us about 4 weeks. And then it takes us another 2 weeks because we take the mushroom that's gone through the water, through the alcohol, and then what we do is we actually, what they call calcify it. We turn it into white ash. And then we mix that ash back into the dual extracted blend, the water and the alcohol, now making a tincture that's 95% bioavailable. So when this stuff hits your tongue, it almost feels alive, and you can literally feel the impact of it within minutes. I have people who don't sleep, have PTSD, and they tell me they take this shot. They usually take it about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then take it an hour before bed. They'll have their best night's sleep that they've had in years, and they just feel like they're getting a deep restorative sleep, not the disruptive sleep that we're all usually used to. So the process is literally a 500-plus-year-old extraction method. It's called spagyric extraction. What I find hilarious is I'll talk to mushroom farmers and mycologists all around the country, all around the world. Most of them don't even know what spagyric extraction is. They're like, are you making this thing up? I'm like, no. Let me send you a sample. You try it, you research it. And once they do it, they're like, why the hell aren't more people doing this? I'm like, well, it's because it takes 8 weeks to complete the extraction. And because of the technology and the systems you need, it costs you several $1,000s more per gallon. Like, so it's that compromise decision. Like, do I want the most potent product, or and what most people don't realize is like for example, I'll give you a simple context. When we sell our energy gummies, I created an all-day energy gummy that's got no caffeine in it, right? You can have one of our energy gummies in comparison to 8 to 12 of our competitors. Our competitors will literally go, here's a single dose, right? It's 12 gummies. And it's also packed with sugar and all this other type of stuff. And I'm just like, well, why can't I just put the 12 into one and just make that so damn strong that you just loving it? And then, yeah, it's a different game. Does that make sense? It does. Yeah.
So the mushroom's being used as a form of medicine. And you're saying here that it can also improve sleep. Once the client's or the patient's sleep improves, what else starts to improve after that?
Oh, there's a whole myriad of things. Like I've even combined our performance. Like one of the cool things is when you're talking about our energy one, caffeine and sugar. What I didn't know, like it only took me this year to learn this, which was I think crazy. But caffeine, when you have it, when you're sipping on it, your body gets this signal to go, all right, he needs energy. Let's give him energy. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't go into energy production. It starts faking that I have got energy and therefore I can use energy, which is why some people crash. Some people go, I can have a coffee and go straight to bed because it's literally causing them to crash, right? Where when you have cordyceps, mushrooms as the cordyceps mushroom, what it actually does, it is actually tells your body, hey, he wants energy. Let's go into energy production. And for the next 4 to 8 hours, you can actually be in energy production mode and having natural clean energy. So you never have a spike. You never have that rush like, oh, yeah, I feel it. You just go, all right, I'm good to go. So you're not having that, I don't feel like I need that second cup of coffee, the third cup of coffee. And this is where people go, oh, but Ben, I drink that mushroom coffee and it's okay. I'm like, yeah, but it tastes like crap, doesn't it? Like, take the coffee you already love, take the smoothie you already love having, take the tea you already enjoy, have a shot with it and turn it into a superfood. And like, that's a totally different mindset for a lot of people, which is really exciting. So you've got just how your body processes that energy. And if you're not spiking and riding that roller coaster, because most people in their coffee, you can't really deceive yourself and you go, oh yeah, I have black coffee. But my mum would go, oh yeah, I have black coffee and I don't really have any sugar. So I'm like, Mum, you put a caramel milk sweetener into it. That thing's got like a can of Coke's worth of sugar in it, and you're trying to tell me that you're not putting any sugar. She goes, yeah, I no longer put sugar in my coffee. I'm like, yes, you are no longer putting 3 sugars in your coffee, but you were putting creamer with 3 sugars. So you thought you did yourself the benefit. So like that sweetener element. So now you're chasing a caffeine crash, and then you're chasing like that sugar crash. So when you think of that, how that's impacting your body, that spikes your cortisol, it does a whole bunch of stuff to actually impact you. So now your focus is out, your mental cognition is out. In our what we call uplift, like having lion's mane and brahim is another thing we use, which is a natural herb. It increases mental clarity, mental focus. It turns your brain on. It literally lights up your brain to actually be thinking, being effective, being focused. So now you can get into that flow state without 3-4 cups of coffee. So imagine if now you can be just focused and more efficient with the time you have. Because one of the things I think I found after doing all this mushroom stuff and really making it my life is that I can get into flow state faster. I can be focused longer, but then I can go, okay, I've got my work done. Let's go have some fun. Where when I was chasing that caffeine sugar animal, like I found that things would just take me longer because I'd have to hype myself up to get into it. Oh my gosh, I got to do these spreadsheets, or I got to write these agreements, or I got to look over these contracts, whatever the hell it is, right? You're sitting there going, oh, damn. Where it's just like, all right, like, let's just go get this done. Let's go have some fun. Does that make sense?
It does. And it looks like it's easy to use. So in terms of dosage size, you showed us some samples there. What would the person start at as a dosage? Because everybody wants things to be easy.
Yeah, it's real simple.
Simple.
One full dropper is 90 milligrams of mushrooms in our spagyric, which is really strong. So this is a 30-day supply bottle. This is a single dose bottle, which is what we do in our samples. Most people, so in the morning, I have my 2 energy gummies with my coffee, right? And then what I do is, because I still enjoy my coffee, like sometimes I'm like, man, I don't even know why I'm drinking coffee. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just over the flavor. So then I'm on the...
Sometimes.
Yeah, but then I'm on the tea wagon. So then I'm like, all right, I'm going to start drinking teas again, all this type of stuff, right? But then what I used to do is I just have 1 shot of my Perform, which gives you the natural energy. It's got the reishi and the mataki. So anyone who's been dealing with cancers or autoimmune diseases, these are fantastic for performance. It improves my oxygen supply at a blood cellular level. So now I've got more oxygen in my blood supply. I can breathe better. It opens my lungs. And if you're breathing better, you actually start taking a breath with what you're doing. Like you're not feeling that rushed anxiety. And then the other one I have is for my immunity, general immunity, and hormone stabilization, which is my uplift one. And in this one, it's got the lion's mane, the reishi, the oyster, the spearmint, and brahim, which is a focus, like they call it the Jedi mind herb, to really bring out that awakening and also strengthen your immune system. So like dosage is just 2 simple droppers. One of the really cool things is we're actually testing now with people setting their intention when they take this. What's my intention for the day? We can even do this with sound therapy, with optimizing with sound therapy, that's a whole other world of science and research and evidence-based stuff that is like, how do you then bring in the sound waves? Because if this is like the most alive elements of the mushroom in these bottles, what do you want to program it with? And just having people go, well, what's my intention today? Today, I just want to create this, or want to awaken this. And then now you're kind of saying that mantra. So you can turn your 1 dropper dosage into a very powerful ritual if that's what people want to do.
And for the men, they also need hormonal balance as well. It's not just about the ladies, it's about the men. In my opinion, in blokes who are getting our age, they've got hormonal problems as well. And once they get those hormone levels balanced, their personal performance, but also their sexual performance is a lot better. And if they're getting hit with the adrenal fatigue, if they've constantly got a cortisol boost into the body, it's not good for your Willy Wonka.
No, 100%. Like a lot of the guys tell me that they're because when they're on these two, or when they're taking the ashwagandha, or even the recovery, their performance, their sex drive is better. It's cleaner. It's just they're not complicating their life as much, which I think a lot of people are grateful for. And it all comes from like, it's just that people go, there's something else in this, right? There's CBD or there's something else. Like, how can this make me so relaxed and it not be something stronger? I'm like, well, it just doesn't have to be. It's just got the right proper ingredients in it that we've been treated with respect, which is a total game changer. So yeah, it's one of the problems with anything in the mushroom world, right, is there's so much great research, but mushrooms are like an adaptogen. They will give your body what your body needs and optimize things. You can't really target it for specific things, like my shoulder is sore, so I want to have it for recovery in my shoulder. Like, it's going to help your whole body through muscle recovery. So but this is also where there's a whole new world for mushrooms coming up, which is topical salves, topical lotions, because now you can then put that on the muscle inflammation pain. I've actually seen some of the studies around inflammation, which a lot of us deal with inflammation. There's some mushrooms out there that, like, I've seen people break their ankles. So their ankles are swollen, bruised, what have you. The next day, no swelling, not minimal bruising. Like, it's hard to even look at you're looking at both of their ankles going, which one did you say was broken? Like, it's like, that's how powerful it is for dealing with inflammation, attacking inflammation at a cellular level, not just masking it with like, oh yeah, I'm taking a drug which is muting the symptom. It's actually treating it at the cause. And what I find fascinating is when you dive into this world of pharmaceutical side of things, pharmaceutical companies will take one of the molecules out of a mushroom, and like, there might be 5 molecules of value in this one mushroom, for example. They'll take one of them and they'll be able to patent that one molecule. But because they've taken the one molecule without the 4 other items, you have all these side effects, you have all these issues. So then they've got like 10 other drugs you've now got to take, right? But if I just take the mushroom, I get the benefits without all of the side effects, without all of the big pharma drugs. So it's very fascinating how the two worlds kind of collide at some point. And you have to be willing to say, well, hold on, there is other options. There has been other options for centuries. I'm not saying that there's not a time and a place for pharmaceuticals or doctors or what have you, but like, yeah, for a lot of the stuff we're dealing with, we've got to look at the bigger picture of what the hell we're eating and what our holistic health really looks like.
We do. And if we even just look at the diet component, this past week, I started on a keto diet, and I know a keto diet's very good for me. And so I will eat meat and mushrooms for breakfast. I'll eat meat and mushrooms for lunch, and then I'll have hot pot for dinner. In 1 week, I dropped 4 kilos. And it was the inflammation and all the sugars just getting out of the body, and all the stored fats started to release. And it was just a change in diet. And as soon as I shifted to that diet, the sleep got better on the first night. By the end of the week, the sleep is deeper and more restorative. And it's garbage in, garbage out. And even
but some of this builds up. Yeah, it builds up over 21 days, builds up over 2 months. Like, I've seen people who go, Ben, I've been on this stuff now for 2 years. I look younger. My skin is more vibrant. Like, people go, have you had plastic surgery? And he goes, whatever this stuff is, it's bloody working, because like, I've never had people go, you just look better. Like, and thinking,
the largest organ in the body. And once you're healthy on the inside, it radiates on the outside.
Oh, 100%. And sometimes what happens is mushrooms actually cause a detox. And what's fascinating about this, and most people don't, they're like, oh, I started taking it and my arm started breaking out. Or I had one lady go, oh, I used to get an injection every week. Yeah. She used to get an injection every week in her arm. And she said it just, the injection site started like swelling up a little bit, and just like the pain. She goes, it was like for 1 week, and then all of a sudden it went away. But she goes, it was like that, all that junk just left my body. And I'm like, well, most people don't realize is we've actually had people blood tested. And if a mushroom is detoxing you, it can take drugs you stopped taking 5, 7 years ago that will still show up in your blood supply, because what your body's doing at a cellular level is it goes, I don't know what to do with this crap, so I'm just going to store it. And because you're taking more of it, it just has a stockpile of it. And your body can't heal itself until it like flushes out all of the crap to get out of the way, so then the body can actually do stuff. So it's fascinating how we don't realize that, yeah, we might be doing what is technically right, but the long-term ramifications of that, and that like a simple mushroom can be a better detox than most of these detox pills and stuff that are out there, which is quite phenomenal.
I used to do alkalize and energize diets, and one of the things that I'd consume on a daily basis was just a mushroom soup, and it was just white mushrooms, buttons in the blender, water, and that was it. And that had a detox effect on the body, cleaned out the bowels, cleaned them right up. But also the energy sustains longer, where if I had a soup, it used less energy for the body to break it down. The food turned into energy a lot faster. And then by 1 o'clock, I wasn't scoffing down the next meal. I could sit down and enjoy the next meal, but it has a healing effect inside the body, and it doesn't take long. And those little things I mentioned before, those incremental improvements, just 1% better every day, it compounds. And if you're adding something to your diet every day and it's 1% better for you, in a year, you're 365% better. You've done
100%. And here's one final thing I think I want to leave people with. Like, most people are chronically dehydrated and they don't realize it. So what you may be having is, you may be drinking water, you may drink your gallon, your 2 bottles, or whatever the hell it is, right? But what you may not realize is you're flooding your body, not hydrating your body. And to hydrate your body needs electrolytes. You can buy fancy electrolytes, or you can just use a Celtic salt, a salt that's got the additional minerals in it, not table salt. Because that's just like, you may as well go to the ocean and grab you're going to have a different effect. You're going to dehydrate yourself more. But you need a salt that's got the potassium and the magnesium and a few other things in it to actually enrich it. And you can actually make an electrolyte that'll last you all year for less than $10. I know the brand we use here is called Celtic Salt, because it's minerally rich as well. And you literally add 2 or 3 cubes, like just a pinch of it, to a water bottle, and you will have some of the best hydration. And once you hydrate yourself, you'll find you're not running to the bathroom every 15 minutes. You don't have any of that stuff. And you also, a lot of the other issues we have, like there's a lot of research coming out all about hydration, where doctors in Europe will literally, people will go to the doctors for a myriad of symptoms. And the doctor goes, they just give them 1 glass of water with a pinch of the Celtic salt, mineral-rich salt in it, every 15 minutes for an hour. And they keep coming back. How do you feel? How do you feel? And then after an hour, they're like, I actually feel really good. I feel like my pain started to go away. Or they're like, what was in the water? It's just like, well, just electrolytes. Like, it's literally about hydration. And if you're drinking teas, if you're drinking coffees, let alone all the food we're having, like, it's actually designed to dehydrate you. A lot of these things
all the time.
Yeah. So my only other tip is, like, if you really want to improve your productivity and performance, there's a myriad of things you could be doing. But when you get to simplify it and you take it back to this real life stuff, hydration is critical. And in a lot of places here in the US, some of the tap water is poisonous. Like the chemicals they put in it, the byproducts that are in this stuff is just like, that's a whole other thing. But let alone that it's got so much crap in it that, like, it couldn't hydrate you if you were drowning in it, which is quite disappointing.
Ben, where can we learn more about your products, and where can we get them shipped to?
Yeah, so just check out bareremedy.net, BARE remedy.net. We're just in the process of opening up our worldwide shipping again, and we're actually enabling distributors of our products all around the world right now. And I'm in a mission for 2026 to have 1,000 people all generate $100,000 or more per year. And I'd love to be able to get them. My real vision for that is to be able to get these people to be able to thrive, to get 1,000 people to $100,000 a month. So I'm not just about creating great products. I want to build a really powerful community who really thrive in changing people's lives with holistic journeys.
Let's do it. Ben, thanks for your time.